Hello everybody, it's me, the Real Local Maniac. I'm back again with another 16-bit Wars. Now, as you can see, today I'll be playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. I love the tackiness of this song. Now, as always with the 16-bit Wars, I'm going to start off with the arcade game, followed by the Sega Megadrive, and then the Super Nintendo. And the reason why I do it in that particular way is because the arcade game was normally the first version of the games I actually played, followed by the Megadrive, which was the first 16-bit console I owned, and then I owned the Super Nintendo version. Right, so it's going to be an interesting 16-bit Wars today, because although these games are basically based on the same game, which is this one, they all have loads of differences, even on the title screen here.
This is April O'Neil reporting.
Oh, there's Krang, he's nicking the Statue of Liberty. There's April O'Neil. Check out the sampled speech and stuff like that. And the animation. Now, yeah, that's the reason why I like this game in particular, because all of the versions, although, you know, they're based on this one, they're all very different. Some of them feature different boss characters, some of them feature different layouts, some of them even start differently, but, you know, I'll point those out a little bit later. Alright, so I used to be a big fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and this is the sequel to the classic arcade game by Konami, or Konami, however you pronounce it. I can never remember it. So yeah, it's a 4-player arcade game. If anything, I actually think this improves a hell of a lot on the first game. Definitely. And you'll find this game basically came out not just on the Megadrive and the Super Nintendo, but also came out, it was a secret thing on one of the PlayStation games. And recently, well I say recently, about a year or two ago, it came out on the Xbox and PlayStation Network. You know, it's been sort of like jazzed up a little bit with the graphics and stuff like that, but I don't think it looks as good as this, to be honest with you. But the core gameplay is there, and that's what matters. But as sequels go, this basically just made everything a little bit better. You had more moves at your disposal, you could chuck them onto the screen, you could sort of like roll back and chuck them onto the screen. Everything was like a little bit more bright, more colourful, and the music was a lot better. And I just found the overall experience of this game a lot better than the arcade original, which is the first one. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I never actually played this in the arcade. I only recently discovered this game a few years ago due to emulation, and I was completely blown away by this, you know, because I knew the game was available on the Sega Megadrive and Super Nintendo, because I used to actually own both versions of those, but I never actually ever played this, so it's nice playing this, and it's nice to see that both the 16-bit conversions look very accurate to it graphically, and they sound very similar to it. And there's Krang there floating around like that. It was just touches like that that made me think, wow, how good is this game? I'm just admiring the graphics there. They look really beautiful there. They kind of remind me of the graphics of Streets of Rage, actually, on certain levels. Now, I know the music varies in some of the versions as well. And look, there's, what's the name? Splinter, going, hurry! Now, there's me sort of getting attacked by an army of the Foot Clan soldiers, whatever they're called, and he's just running around not helping me in the slightest, and he's meant to be some sort of like ninja master. Right, so here comes the first boss, Baxter. Right, so this is the Sega Megadrive version, and yeah, this was the first version I actually played, and this one isn't called Turtles in Time. This is called the Hyper Stone Heist. And the reason why I decided to do this was because in the last 1HMPS Retro podcast, we talked about this briefly, and it made me basically want to do this. Right, so there's the intro. Some nice colourful sort of characters there. The intro is slightly different to the arcade there. You haven't got the theme music, you know, that was sang so terribly in the arcade song. You've just got the traditional Turtles theme music there, and it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Hyper Stone Heist. So we're going to look at the options here, and the reason why I'm doing that is just so you can see what you've actually got, because this, like the Super Nintendo version's got two different colour modes. You've got anime and comic mode, and that slightly alters the graphics, which is, I don't believe the arcade actually had, and if anything, it's a nice interesting thing. It looks a little bit more comic style, but I'm just going to go for the normal version. So there's April O'Neil. Right, look at this Very different to the arcade. That suddenly disappears. It wasn't sort of taken away by Krang. It just suddenly disappeared, which is one of the first few differences that you'll notice. And look at that. This is completely different to the arcade and the Super Nintendo. And there's Shredder. God damn, that guy must work out. Look at him. He's got muscles in places where it's impossible to have muscles. Alright, this is very similar to the arcade. They're all just sitting around the TV. I used to love the Turtles. The Turtles was absolutely amazing. You know, just based on the comic, which was slightly darker, and the cartoon in the 80s was absolutely amazing. Right, so in this Megadrive version, you actually start on the sewer level, which completely skips. The level layout in the Megadrive version is completely different. And you find some of your moves are missing as well. You can't actually chuck them onto the screen, like the arcade and the Super Nintendo. But the graphics, I think, are absolutely beautiful, actually. I love the colour scheme on the Megadrive. I think it suits it really well. It's got a really nice tone. They look very solid as well. And the music's absolutely lovely as well. The sound effects sound very similar to the arcade sound effects. I think you've got all the moves apart from them chucking them onto the screen, which is like one, you grab them and throw them, and the other one is where you roll back and you chuck them onto the screen. You get like a number of enemies on screen at the same time, so it's very challenging actually. Now, I'm really enjoying doing the 16-bit wars because, to be honest with you, I love absolutely all three. So, judging between the Mega Drive version and the Super Nintendo version is going to be a difficult one, guys. It really is going to be a close call because both versions are absolutely fantastic. And although they're a bit different to the arcade game, and even though like the Super Nintendo is closer to the arcade game, it's still a toughie because they both play fantastically. The sound effects there when you hit the little robots don't sound metallic enough. It just sounds like, I don't know, a bit puny actually. With this one though, on the Mega Drive version, you've got to go through the sewers, and you don't actually fight the first boss until you reach the street level, which is different to the arcade and the Super Nintendo version. Because in the arcade and the Super Nintendo version, what you basically find is the street level is the second level, but this is basically one long continuation of a level, if that makes any sense. Turtles is so cool. But yeah, I completely forgot to mention it. The arcade was 4-player. There was a few different ones, so you could actually have a 2-player arcade or a 4-player arcade, but both 16-bit versions are actually just 2-player, but it makes no difference, it's a good game. Alright, so this is the Super Nintendo version. I'm playing like the Eastern version, so like you see the language there is slightly different. That's because it's a ROM I actually had. And once again, slightly different intro there, and it hasn't got that classic song from the arcade, but it has got the normal sort of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme song. There we go, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. Now you've got like a number of options there. Like once again, I'm just going to show you like the option down there that this basically has got the comic option as well. And again, that's an interesting thing because it does change the color scheme. So it did give you something to sort of like play through the game just because it made it look different. So you got the anime and the comic. So once you finished the game, it was interesting seeing the game again in a different style. Well, I found that interesting anyway. So there we go, you got your 4 selectable turtles. My favourite turtle actually was Raphael, but you know, I want to go for Leonardo because he's the one I went for in the other versions. So that's basically April O'Neil going la 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 la. Here's April O'Neil reporting. Holy fuck, Statue of Liberty's been nicked. And Shredder's basically saying, damn you turtles, I've nicked the Statue of Liberty. Come and get it if you dare. And the turtles are thinking, oh man, we just ordered a pizza. So the first level basically starts off very similar to the arcade. But what you'll know, well, I won't have enough time to actually show you on the Super Nintendo version, is that, again, with this version, it's different to the arcade. You won't notice it in the first few levels, and I won't be able to show you in this particular length of time that I've made a video in, but you've got different level bosses. You've got some that didn't actually appear in the arcade game. You've even got Super Shredder, which is a different sort of boss at the ends. You've even got like a different level as well. You've got like a Mode 7 level where they're basically flying around. So again, playing all these different versions, it's actually really interesting, and because they vary so much, so you get the same experience gameplay wise, but you know, like all the levels it's slightly different. So if you ever get the chance, I'd basically say play all 3 of them. If you can get your hands on all 3 of them, definitely, you know, get them, because they're absolutely fantastic. As sequels go, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a great sequel to the first arcade game, and as arcade conversions go, both the Megadrive version and the Super Nintendo versions are absolutely superb. It's a real shame that the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle arcade game didn't actually appear on the Super Nintendo, because it would have been fantastic. But I think maybe that was because it came out a little bit too soon, just when the Super Nintendo was starting out perhaps. I know it did come out on the 8-bit computers, 16-bit computers, and the 8-bit NES. But if you love a good Turtles beat 'em up, you can't go wrong with the Sega Mega Drive version and the Super Nintendo version. Yeah, the music's really nice in this as well. Again, it looks really good. I don't know why they didn't include this level on the Sega Mega Drive. The music's absolutely phenomenal in this as well. Absolutely amazing. And this does basically actually feature the throwing them onto the screen. I don't remember how to do it. It's basically hit and miss for me. But it's a nice addition to the actual game. But the reason why I also decided to do this as well is because I've been playing this on the Xbox 360 recently, and I actually don't find the game as good. I really don't find it as good. There's a lot going on the screen here. It's got some nice sound effects. There we go, look at that. Do it again. I'm on a roll there. 3 in a row. Can I make it 4? Nah. There we go, that's 4. So I'm going to stop playing this once I get to the boss, because I don't want to try and make my videos too long. Alright guys, so the winner of today's 16-bit wars, it might be a little bit controversial, but I think it's a Super Nintendo, because I think it added a little bit more to the arcade game by changing it slightly. The Mega Drive version is good though, but the Super Nintendo version is the winner. Goodbye.
You win!